that having been said, and the thoughts and prayers continually having been read for that family, I think that what the Sikh community at large have had to deal with has been absolutely deplorable. It's been disgusting. I mean, in no way can a single person, a lone wolf, acting in such a way represent a community. And if you look at the Sikh community across the world, I say this as a statement, I say it as a challenge otherwise. Like, there is no more distinguished history, there is no more distinguished an example of a community in the world by way of their actions, right, than exists the Sikh community. Like, wherever we have gone, we have lived to serve others. Like, that's not political rhetoric. That is a reflection of how we've lived. Sikhs going back to the 9th century, going back to the 9th Guru's times, were there as a minority for the Kashmiri Pandits when they were being wiped out under Islamic extremism, right? When those times were upon us and the Kashmiri Pandits had nowhere to go, they would go to the Sikhs. 300 years later, when a tyrant would come and try and wipe out all the Jews of this world, the Allied forces would turn to the Sikhs. And they would be so small in number, but they would have such a consequential effect on the way that service would be rendered, right? Like, it's an easy stat to say, but it's one very difficult to swallow when you think that Sikhs made up less than 1% of the Indian population, but they represented over 12% of the armed forces that would come and fight against that tyranny, right? 14 Victoria Military Crosses were awarded to Sikhs. That's the highest number of military crosses, which is the highest award this country can give for honour and valour, and the highest number awarded to Sikhs. And so for that whole community to be essentially washed with the actions of one man in such a deplorable way, tarnished in such a way, I found that quite disgusting. And you've got the far right narrative looking to try and ban Kurbana. Let's be straight. The Kurbana has existed in the UK without blemish, without having been brought into disrepute for over 200 years. You know, I'm a practicing lawyer. I've been going to court, bringing justice under the British justice system for 15 years. I wear a Kurbana every single day, proudly.
Has there been any cases in those 15 years that you've been...
Let's be very clear. There are Sikhs, dentists, pharmacists trying to get to work in the morning, being accosted on the streets of London town by gangs of youth saying, show us your Kurbana, get us your Kurbana. I got across the greatest cities in the north as well. This is disgusting. There's been no engagement from the police, zero engagement. I'm very fortunate to be involved in some of the community engagement here, so I'm placed to be able to say that. There's been zero engagement with the police.
20%
to say what is your community facing, what backlash are you dealing with, can we assist you? In my honest estimation, actually estimation goes out the window, in terms of reported cases, that would be a 20% increase in just the last 10 days. I mean, I'm in a group where lads are trying to chaotically police the situation. It's not our job to. We're citizens of this country. We're law-abiding citizens that pay our taxes and contribute towards the value system that is largely endured by all. We shouldn't be having to police this. We shouldn't be having to deal with families talking about the difficulties.
Are Sikh families feeling unsafe?
I won't accept the idea that the Sikh community is living under fear. It's not in our blood. We don't know what that means to live in fear. We are here to take away the fear of others. We live in service. What I'd say is that the Sikh community has had to deal with disgusting hate crimes and a backlash that we shouldn't have to deal with. But we'll always deal with it. And that's the problem, because we're so willing to deal with stuff. We're not seen as a victim community, because we're always the ones that are standing on the front line to help other people that are victims. Does that make sense? We don't have a victim mentality. So I'll answer your question very specifically. The Sikh community is not living in fear, nor shall we ever live in fear. But we are having to deal with deplorable circumstances.
And how are we going to deal with it?
In the same way that we always do, in the same way that our forefathers have taught us, we go to the Guru, we draw upon the examples of those that have stood few against many in the face of hatred, and we'll stand. Like we always have done, right?